Well. G'day, Britsburgh Owen. G'day, Daredevil. G'day, guys. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. I'm your co-host, Mark, and I'm joined by the night owl, Britsburgh Owen.
Hey Mark, you right?
What's up, mate?
Oh, I'm good, man. By the way, on a side note, I like your new blind.
Thanks, mate. Just a tad bit. I think your microphone might be a bit too loud on the gain. If you can just maybe adjust that a bit too much, but that should be fine. But as Owen does that, it's not too bad. G'day, Pans. G'day, Patricia. Look, I applaud you, man, for staying up. I could not do that from like 1 a.m. You've been awake since this morning, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk about the game. That sounds much better. What is your what's a one word reaction to this game?
Wow.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say if I was doing one word, amazing, maybe. Okay, mine's 2 words, far out. Like that we have not seen anything like that in a long time. The offense seemed to click. The defense was shaky near the end. You know, what stood out to you from the Do you want to go quarter by quarter and
I,
just look into it?
I'll tell you one thing though, Mark. I think the guy, near the end of the game, Bob Labriola and Charlie Batch talking about the crowd. And he was saying this crowd is you would think it wasn't a preseason game. He said like Aquashaw Stadium was rocking tonight, even though the crowd wasn't capacity either. And then them chanting like Kenny at the end.
Kenny. Yeah, I was even getting into that too as I was streaming stuff. And it's like, I guess, like, in a nutshell for me, and we're going to talk about it from from start to finish, and we'll bring up some players who we liked, who we didn't like, and stuff like that. But in a nutshell for me, and if you guys have questions in chat, perfect time. We're a live show. Put in the questions, and we want to talk about everything. So we might be a bit all over the shop. We're not too organized, but it is our preseason too. However, for me, from the get-go, I liked how the offense just seemed to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The Matt Canada offense was used well by Trubisky, used well by Pickett and Rudolph. And there were times where Rudolph, fumbled the football, but then he came back and threw a massive pass. Did you like what you saw from the Matt Canada offense?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that looked so much better. It looked a lot. I know it's preseason and all that, but I liked what I saw so much better. And the one thing for me, Mark, was the fact that when pressure came on the quarterback, they did something that we haven't seen for nearly 2 years now. They took off and they ran and they got away and they kept the play going. And it wasn't just a case of running to gain some yards, which they did do at times, but it was running to then get to extend the play in the same way that like Aaron Rodgers does and Josh Allen does, and then give the receivers time to get open and then throw the ball. And that was just so refreshing for me to see that, rather than the fact that, oh god, it's 2 seconds, you got to get rid of it or you're going to get smashed.
All right, so we got a question here from Michael O'Malley, but I'm going to try and go for offense, quarterback, stuff like that. But we got a question here because this is a big topic too. He says Bush didn't flash to me. It looked like he was on his heels. Did you guys see the same thing? What are your thoughts on Devin Bush? A knee-jerk reaction?
I didn't see a lot of Bush, if I'm being honest.
I saw the same thing I saw last year. I didn't see anything.
Miles Jack, I saw him. Buddy Johnson, I saw a fair bit as well near the end of the game. I saw 41 running around. I did not. Yeah, I don't remember Bush. That, if I'm being honest with you, I know I've been awake for 24 hours, but I still didn't see Bush or hear Bush.
To me, he didn't look any different than he was last year. Something has just changed ever since that injury. Nothing stands out on a big play. He was, in certain times, he was over pursuing. In other times, he was letting Miles Jack go in there and make the play. He made, I think, 2 big plays for Miles Jack and tackles there. Devin Bush is not a standout. Nothing really changed. Also, that middle linebacker spot, besides Miles Jack, in my opinion, I didn't like what Spillane did either. He got beat, I think, 3 or 4 times in coverage. I did not like that. But let's backstep a little bit. Let's go through the quarterbacks, and we'll go through them. And we'll start talking about the whole team. What are your thoughts on Mitchell Trubisky in this game?
I thought Mitch started really, really well. I thought it was really promising what he showed today. I thought he looked good. He was mobile. He used the run well, and I think another positive is he got that offense to move up and down that field with very little difficulty. And he didn't have Deontay Johnson. He didn't have Chase Claypool. He didn't have Pat Freiermuth, and he didn't have Najee Harris. Yet he still got that offense moving up and down that field a lot easier than last season, even in preseason. forget the rest of the season because it's different. But even in preseason, there was a lot more freedom of movement there, Mark. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just got a quick question here from Brian Harrington, who was giving me a bit of strife about the 3 minutes and thing. It's not. I think there's a bit of a disconnect as well. Sometimes I know for you and me, Owen, like maybe sometimes people don't get our sarcasm because English and Australian are very
Yeah,
sarcastic,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
so pretty much like I was giving stick back to you. That's what we kind of do as mates. Like for me
yeah,
and Owen, we always rip on each other all the time. But it's kind of like that mateship we build. I wasn't offended at all that the 3 minutes. But also like if it does offend me, I'll call you out, and then you just get over it, right? So
yeah,
that's fine. It was just I think I'm about a minute behind or 2 minutes behind when I show my game pass. But yeah, it doesn't offend me or nothing like that, dude. I think in Australia and like in England, I know because we're pretty similar. We just we just barrack each other all the time and bag each
yeah.
other out. It's just what we do. It's just a thing, But
Definitely.
man, Trubisky wise, I was intrigued to see how he played too. He linked up with Pickens, I think, for the first pass. It was Trubisky to Pickens, right?
Yeah, it was the very first pass was Trubisky,
Yeah.
to Pickens.
So I like what he did, and like let's move into Rudolph. I know. I'm up and down too on Rudolph. I guess I'm so reactionary with Rudolph. It's like he had the fumble and then he had the big pass. What are your thoughts on Rudolph? Is he the exact same player we know who he is?
Yeah, I think he was. It was just I had a really interesting comment in my live stream. I think it was Daredevil that made it. He said that a good touchdown pass to Pickens, but then other times Mason reminding us that he's just Mason.
Yes, he doesn't seem to move his feet in the pocket, right? He
Yeah.
had a really good touchdown pass, but maybe other quarterbacks could have made that pass, and maybe it was more on Pickens than it was on Rudolph with the
Oh,
great lob. That pass to the end zone was Tony toe tapping the end zone. So my thoughts on Rudolph were, yeah, it's the same guy we see all the time. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's just good to be decent enough to be a second backup.
yeah.
Wouldn't you agree? Or
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I know people now don't like Rudolph, but putting that to one side, looking at it from like an NFL analyst perspective, the pass wasn't great. Pickens made it what it was with a toe tap. A lot of other receivers of lesser ability probably wouldn't have landed in bounds or wouldn't have been able to get their second foot down. It was Pickens making it what it was. And I think, like I said, that's what lets Rudolph down at some points, that he does that. I mean, there's a comment there in the live chat. Rudolph looked bad. Pickens made that catch happen. It was a bad pass.
yeah, the same bloke says he's Stranger says here a lot of Rudolph stuff was high. I do agree with that. His passes were high to a lot of receivers. So I think what we saw from Rudolph, in my opinion, was what we've seen before in the past. He can go out there and win you games, but then maybe he's not the special guy that is Kenny Pickett, right? And now moving into Pickett, because I want to get to some running backs and defense and
Yeah, yeah.
receivers too. We talked about the quarterback the other day. Thoughts on Kenny Pickett? Kenny, is that the new chant now? Is that the new chant?
Yeah. He did well. I mean, 'cause that's his first NFL game, his first time coming under NFL. I know, and people say, "Oh, he was playing against their third string." Yeah, but he was playing with our third string, so our third string line, our third string receivers, our third string running backs, who actually Master Teague didn't look that bad, but he was able to escape when he needed to. He was able to keep the play going when he was needed to, and that pass, as Panzer Shrek says in the live chat, 20 to 25 yards in the air, such a change from last season. That sums up. He looked lively. He looked mobile. He looked very, very promising to me.
I really enjoyed what Pickett was doing out there. He was very mobile in the pocket, and a lot of the quarterbacks were. As I'm just watching the replay on my TV now, I just saw Trubisky throw it, an open pass, miscommunication to Gunnar Olszewski. He was wide open, scores a touchdown. The offense looked different. I think the Canada offense could even get better with the additions of Claypool, Deontay. Austin is out. I think he's got a sore leg. Someone said to me,
So
he got a sore foot, right? So he's out for a little bit. But it did seem like Gunnar Olszewski had a good time. But to me, what are your thoughts on it? Because I really want to get some of these receivers. What are your thoughts on Pickett? He had a pretty good game, didn't he?
He did. For that, you know what? To say that, like I said, that's his first ever game against NFL caliber players in an NFL stadium. I know he's playing at Aquashaw Stadium before, but at the end of the day, that's the first time coming under NFL pressure, and he handled it really, really well. He wasn't picked. He didn't look out of place. He didn't panic. he looked very, very promising. And I think, 2 touchdown passes as well. He was able to run. He looked. It's like people have been saying. The Steelers know something we don't. They've seen him for the last 5 years down the hall. They know something we don't. They know more than we do. We've got to just trust what they say.
Well, Brian Harrington says here, I think we saw Mason Sealing again. I agree with that. Like, yes, he had a touchdown. Yes, he had some good plays. Same time, we saw what he do. And that fumble was really, it just doesn't move in the pocket. He didn't know how to move out. Excuse me. But we had, Kenny showed a lot of promise, and there's a lot more ability to get better. Kenny went down too. Kenny went down twice. I think there was one, I think James Daniel missed the block and he got sacked there. And the other play, 4th and 1, I don't think that's not really the play call for me. That might not be Kenny Pickett's fault. Tried to escape, run around the outside and got picked up by a sack. I didn't really like that play, but I think overall Kenny Pickett had a good game. Let's move into some running back play. Mm-hmm. Before I even say our player's name, who's your favorite? Not running back number 2.
Jaylen Warren.
Wow. All right, that's the show. That's the show. Wow. I agree with you when I was watching that game, and I can't wait to watch it again. Jaylen Warren going up the middle, north and south, wrecking ball Warren. We need a nickname for him. Hopefully Steel Nation can come up with one. He was fantastic. He had missed tackles as well. Yards after hit need to be up there. ESPN Next Gen Stats. He is just going north and south and running over people.
Yeah.
How fantastic was he to watch?
And the catches out the backfield, the catch for the touchdown out the backfield was him. He gave us something we haven't seen from a backup running back since James Conner.
Big time. I like the way he plays. And Michael Malley says here, did y'all see Malik's first start? I definitely did. I didn't mind his first start, but if we're going to compare Pickett to Malik, I like Pickett a lot better. I really do. He showed much more composure in the pocket, 2 TDs. He seems very comfortable, and wait until he gets rhythm out there. He was throwing passes to a receiver called Blake. We don't know we don't even know his first name. He came into the building 2 days ago. And once he gets out there, if it is to the end of the year, or there could be a chance he may start. I don't know what's going to happen, but he looked very comfortable. So, going back to the Warren train, or whatever it is, man. Here we go. Steamroller. Bulldozer, wrecking ball, slobber knocker. Man, Warren looked good. And it looked good because he's undrafted, right?
Yeah, he's a UDFA,
Undrafted player, preseason game. You excel in those moments. And he was going against, I guess, the Seahawks' first defense, maybe second defense. Yeah. Is that not right?
Yeah, second, I think, yeah.
I think as I looked at the stats too, so McFarland got 7 carries, 56 yards. McFarland played well too also.
I thought McFarland played really well, actually.
Jaylen Warren, 6 carries, 34 yards, 5.7, right? Master Teague, 6 carries, 31 yards, 5.2, right? We had an overall 185 yards rushing, 6.9 average, which is fantastic, right?
That's good.
We had Kenny Pickett ran the ball. Mitchell Trubisky ran the ball. The only guy that didn't run the ball was Rudolph, and maybe that's why it comes back to, well, they're not using, Rudolph in that way. But any other running backs stood out to you? Was it McFarland and Teague?
McFarland and Warren definitely, but I was impressed with Master Teague at the end. I thought he looked a bit like a bowling ball as well.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you something. If my name was Benny Snell, I'd be worried tonight.
I would too. Is there a reason? Did you find it a reason why Benny Snell wasn't playing?
I think he was injured at the end of. He had some sort of injury at the end of last week, and he missed out on the last few training sessions. And I think, as Tomlin said, he wasn't going to play anyone who'd been injured recently because he didn't want to set them up to fail.
Fair enough, but at the same time, if you're not out there playing, you're going to give other guys a chance. And definitely,
this is what happened last season, Mark. I don't know if you remember that Snell missed all, but I think it was the final Carolina game. He missed the Hall of Fame game, he missed the Detroit game, and he missed I can't remember who the other team we possibly played now, but he missed 3 games with injury, and it was only that last game that he came back, and we've got a similar sort of situation again, isn't it?
Well, to me, it's like, if you don't start to play, then other players are showing you up. Then, because I even like McFarland's play today, but we haven't seen McFarland do anything in 2 years, right? Because he's always been injured, always been a healthy scratch. This game today looked like he had progress in the off season. Some of those cuts were fantastic. They did look Le'Veon Bell like when he was going up to the line and he knew he couldn't go up the middle. step off his right foot, cut, he's away. He gets 5 yards, and he can burn it to the house. I like what McFarlane can do. I liked what I forgot his name. Jalen Warren could do the catching out in the backfield. I thought his blocking was pretty good. Anything else about the running game you liked?
No, it was just refreshing to see us being able to run the ball, and the average per carry was good. And one thing I was impressed with was the fact that the first line that was with Trubisky, was opening gaps and opening holes for McFarlane, and actually doing a very good job and a lot better than last year.
That's something I guess, like in the time of the motion, you're like, well, it's hard to watch every single thing, but maybe a second time was going. And as fans as well, if you can watch it a second time, we might get a chance to see who did what better plays on the offense. I saw Joe Haig had a pretty good play. I think when Master Teague ran in the middle, and he definitely just blocked away a bit like Alan Faneca used to do. Cut off the edge, and next minute you've got a hole right down there. So I can imagine this can only be better with a Najee Harris. But do you want to talk about Pickens?
Oh yeah, he is the real deal, isn't he? He is the real deal, man. He's awesome. He's gonna get better and better, and as long as he stays healthy, I just cannot see a downside to him this season. I mean, he was there that grabs. I mean, the touchdown pass, like we've said, was a badly overthrown ball by Rudolph, and he managed to bring it down and toe tap and come down. I mean, not since the days of AB, and I know it's really early days to say that, but not since the days of AB have we seen that.
Do you know what really impressed me about Pickens is just his overall football. He just looks like a football player. He does. His size, he's so lanky, he's tall, his body position, his route running ability is fantastic. He's pretty quick, like Deontay Johnson, yet he's really physical, like those top tier receivers can be, and he can push off the cornerback, and he's just making all the plays that needs to be necessary. And I think he's got that true Steeler mentality in him. Now it's very early, very very early. I must admit it's real early, but you get a smidgen of hope of like Pickens can probably go out there and have a really good season, right? Would you not? Would you not say he's going to have a good season? Maybe next week he has similar kind of stats. I think for the stats here, if I look them up, Pickens had 3 catches, targets 5, 43 yards, 14 average, 1 TD. Right?
That's good.
Yeah. Is there any other receivers besides Pickens you thought that went off in this game? Because I can name a few.
Did you hear Minka Fitzpatrick talk about him, about the trash talk thing?
No. What happened there?
No, Missy Matthews asked Minka Fitzpatrick, said, does George Pickens like to trash talk? And Minka Fitzpatrick said, yeah, he does, but he's not very good at
it. Oh, man. No, I think Pickens definitely, let's put it this way. In my opinion, Pickens went from as a training camp hero, right? Training camp Steeler. And he showed in 3 catches what was like the first catch was an easy, like, route run, just an easy curl route back to the football and get 8 yards, and then he showed the fantastic ability to catch that Tony toe tap. And I can't remember what was the other catch he did. Do you remember the third catch?
I don't.
No, I can't remember it either. So, but he had 3. He had the big touchdown. But what other receivers do you think stood out to you?
Do you know, as daft as I was actually quite impressed with Gunnar Olszewski in the first half. I thought he did all right.
Me too.
As a receiver, considering as well that everyone was saying, oh, he's not a very good receiver, he's just a returner. He didn't actually return any kicks or punts. It was actually Sims and McFarlane. I thought Sims was really good actually returning. And Tyler Vaughn's impressed me as well. But apparently he's been having a really good camp anyway. So I was quite impressed with him as well.
I saw Olszewski was good too. I think the first pass he caught, it almost looked like a return.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When he caught the football, he kind of stepped back, started step to his left, and then went right back to his right. Yeah. And straight away he had like, clear field in front of him. So I was impressed with him too, because I haven't been following Olszewski that much. I thought, will he make this team? Will he be the 6 or the 5? But I kind of think it's going to be Austin there at 4. And I think it's going to be Miles Boykin. He showed up today as well. Miles Boykin showed up today, had a great catch. I think it was it's hard because the QB's changed. It might have been from Pickett, or it might have been Rudolph. But he had a great catch, right?
Yeah.
And Olszewski. But then at the same time, did you see the play that Sims did? Like 2 big plays, actually.
Sims for me had a really good game and has actually put himself right in the reckoning for a roster spot, but just because of the fact that not only was those 2 good catches, but also the fact that the returns as well. He was able to beat people and run. I mean, how long is it since we've seen someone actually go past someone on a punt return and then run down the sideline and actually look like he was going to score at one point? I mean,
Whoa.
Ray McLeod, I cannot remember the last time he ever did that.
He could do it. Actually, Ray had the biggest average last year, right? But he didn't.
Yeah.
He had like the 15-yard average. I think the best in the NFL. However, he didn't have that breakaway speed. He kind of like got to a certain point and then was chased down. I
Yeah.
thought Steve Sims had a good job. And one of the best plays of the game, as Andrew, my mate Andrew from Melbourne, from down south, he was awesome. I thought one of the best plays that Sims showed us was that reverse. I didn't even see it coming. Did you see the reverse coming?
No, I didn't see it coming. I thought it was going to be a
No,
normal
me
run play,
neither.
and he's going to kick off around the edge.
I had no idea that was happening. So that to me shows the Matt Canada offense. And I want to transition to a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on what are your thoughts on the overall motion for this offense? Because I actually liked it. I thought it played well into this game. Did you like it?
Yeah, definitely. And what you got to remember, Mark, is this is not even like 1/10 of it. This is just a little bit of it that they're putting in because they won't want to reveal everything now because we've still got a few weeks to go for the regular season. They don't want to give the Bengals and the Browns and the Patriots the heads up as to what they're going to face in those first 3 weeks. So to say that's just a little smidgen of what it's going to be is really promising for me.
I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's talk about some tight ends and we'll talk about maybe a bit of the O-line play. What are your thoughts on the O-line play?
O-line, the first team O-line looked a lot better. That, Cole, Green, Daniels, they look really. I was really impressed with Kendrick Green. I thought, you know what? If you're Kevin Dotson again, you're going to be worried again because I can't remember who it was said it now on the commentary, whether it was Charlie Batch or Bob Labriola, but they said because he's injured again.
For Dotson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess when he's saying like that, it's what does Mike Tomlin say? Your best ability is your availability.
Yeah.
I was impressed too with the O-line because I'm not watching it all the time, but if they're giving the running backs room to run and there's a bit more moxie and fight, and they only let up a few sacks, I think Rudolph was the only one to be sacked, right? No,
yeah.
Rudolph got sacked once and Kenny Pickett got sacked twice. That was near the end of the day though. But I was pretty impressed with the O-line in general. I liked it. Now, can they improve on that? 100%. Is the O-line set at the five positions? Probably not, right?
Okay.
They could always improve. Is anyone else who maybe we're talking a lot of positive? Anyone else who didn't impress you on the O-line?
I think the second and third string O-lines look fairly normal. Didn't look brilliant, but the first 5 for me are the 5 you got to go to. And I just think there's still, I think, concerns over the tackle depth. Once you get past the Okorafor and Dan Moore, who is that's the one concern I've got.
I'm just watching a play now. I saw, James Daniels seemed to be a bit out of his shoes. A few times he gave up a sack, I think, to Rudolph, and in just a play. So then Trubisky had to scramble away. So I think there are improvements to be made. I don't think he had a fantastic game when I see some of the visions coming back now as I watch it again. Yeah. So I'm kind of cheating on this now. But there's always going to be improvement, I think, there. But at least to a certain extent, it isn't like back in the day with Big Ben. If the quarterback Trubisky needs to run away, he will run away. And Sean Manahan says here, imagine him with starters. So and that's probably the quarterback talk, right? Let's go into tight end. And after this discussion, I want to get your thoughts on your most valuable player in the offense. But what about tight end? What do you reckon?
Connor Haywood.
Yeah, big time.
Connor did great. I think he did really well tonight. I mean, he grabs for the pass. His catches were great. He really did show really well. Jay Sternberger was quite good as well. I know one of Matty's favorites. Kevin Radar did a decent job. Again, they're going to have a really difficult decision when it comes to tight ends, who to keep and who not to keep behind Zach Gentry and Pat Freiermuth.
I thought in the tight end discussion, and I'll get your thoughts next, but I thought Connor Haywood for me on offense was the MVP. I know it sounds crazy, but he played the whole game. He played the whole game. I like the way that he was being used in motion. I like the way how he blocks. I like the way when he knows he's not getting the football and he runs down the field to the second level into the middle linebackers, he's blocking them. I like how he gets involved in sometimes in the passing game. If I look at it, I think, did he get a pass? I'm sure he got one, didn't he?
Yeah, he got one pass. Yeah. The one he grabbed,
He
I
got
think grabbed and pulled
two
in.
two passes, two receptions for 24 yards, targeted 4 times, so they're going his way. He didn't get handed the football, but I still like him in that motion. I love that. So to me, he would be my offensive player of the game. I thought he was fantastic, and because he also made a pretty good play on special teams too, where he cut through a block and went and got the kick return guy and made a tackle. So for
Yeah.
you, who's your guy that's offense? Well, this could be the guy you might say. Well, that's Connor as well, but Connor balled out. Who's your guy that balled out?
Yeah, I was impressed with Connor, but I'm gonna have to say Jalen Warren.
Fit wow, right?
Yeah, because the fact this guy wasn't even drafted, he's a UDFA. He's also Willie Parker's cousin as well. So you got Steeler links there. He did really, really well for someone who comes in as an undrafted free agent. You know, with a lot to prove, he proved it for me tonight, and he did very, very, very well tonight. So I was really, really impressed with him.
I'm kind of excited to see the next game. I think we versus Jaguars too. If Jalen Warren can do the same thing and have a good training camp, and I think we'll probably be talking about him for the next week. I love what he did too, so I agree with you. Let's move into the defense. We'll talk about defense for a little bit. Overall, what are your thoughts on the defense? It's kind of funny, right? It's a funny game.
Defense was good. The first team defense was really good. They strangled the run. It looked a lot more impressive. But then I think with the second and third stringers, we saw a lot with the running plays again, a little bit too much of last season. Them letting people run on them and turning what should have been a 1 yard gain into a 5 yard gain. And that is something that is slightly concerning, that the depth behind. But I suppose one thing is the fact that first team defense didn't have Cam, didn't have TJ. I didn't see Ogunjobi. I didn't see Alu. So that's promising.
The first team defense for me was pretty much, it was Devin Bush out there, and he's could be on a string here. We don't know, right?
Yeah.
Miles Jack and Terrell Edmonds. And other than that, who else was there? Maybe a Killer Witherspoon, maybe 4 starters out of a potential 11. And even then, depending what Bush is going to do, I just don't know. The defense for me, it wasn't that great. We saw sparks of it, but it is preseason. I thought the offense overshined the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive line, we got carved up, right? No matter what it is, if I look at the stats here too, defensive line, we got carved up on the run. So where do they have it? So they had 159 yards running, and it's just not cricket, right? You can't be doing that. And who made the most tackles? Buddy Johnson made the most tackles. Pierre was in there. Mollett made the most tackles. Kazi was in there. I thought he played really well.
Yeah, Kazi and Mollett did actually play really well in that first half.
Yeah.
I think for me, that first quarter, if you look at when Seattle started to run the ball successfully and when they came back, it was once they started to pull a lot of those starters out of that defense, and that's when they came back into it. So I think, like I said, the first string defense was good, and it shut them down on several occasions. But it was that afterwards, those depth pieces, and I think there'll be a lot of those guys who find themselves being cut come 53-man roster cut down.
It's kind of funny though to, I guess, even give a grade or anything like that too for this defense. Yes, we got so excited for the offense, haven't seen it for a while, but the defense, this is going to look nothing like it, right? This will look nothing like the defense come week 1 versus the Bengals, where you have TJ Watt, Highsmith, these guys, hopefully a better improved linebacker. I am a bit skeptical a little bit about this linebacking core. Miles Jack can't go out there and do it himself. He played pretty well getting some tackles he needed to get. Devin Bush did look non-existent again, which is like, is he trying or not trying because it's not preseason? I don't know. I thought Akila Witherspoon played really well on the edge. I thought Trey Norwood near the end of the game played really well.
Trey Norwood was great.
Apparently he's getting cut. I thought Loudermilk played really well also in circumstance too. So these guys are the guys of the depth that are unique to this team. I thought Sutton was hidden a little bit as well, but they crushed down on the run a fair bit, but it's like nothing really sparked too much until the end of the game. We had Mark Robinson went out there and made a big tackle for the fumble. So I'm keen to see what can happen next week. And I think holding a team to less than 20 points will be kind of fantastic. But individually, I think there was some good plays, but collectively, it didn't. It's not the Steelers, right? It's not
Yeah.
it's not the top five defense, right? Would you not agree?
No, yeah, I mean, but like we've said, they were missing Ogunjobi, Cam, Alualo, Minka, TJ, Alec. That's you take like Donald and Jalen Ramsey out of the Rams defense, they're going to struggle. You take, as much as I hate him, Miles Garrett out of the Browns defense, they're going to struggle. So you take that talent out, of course, they're going to not look as impressive. But like I said, I think the first string did okay with Loudermilk and that lot. I was really, I tell you, I was impressed with Mark Robinson. I think was good.
Yeah, he came off the edge too when Kenny Pickett got sacked and came off and forced a fumble.
Yeah,
I want to get to Andrew bring up here the last play of the game. What did you see the actual last play of the game that
Khalil
Khalil
Davis laid
Davis
him out.
knocked him out? Like, I don't think as a Seahawks franchise why does a franchise put themselves in a position to go lateral and look stupid near the end? Why would you do that?
It's a preseason game. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, just throw the ball, admit you've lost, and get on and go home.
Why were they
It was a
trying
playoff game, and they were trying to come back and win a playoff game. Fine, do that. But it just looks.
But the odds to win it, the odds even to get the ball down the field in that scenario is 1%, and you put yourself in a position where Khalil Davis absolutely rocked you, and you even look even sillier coming into Heinz Field / Acrisure Stadium, and you get knocked out. But you're in that position where why are you even trying to throw laterals around when the game's over? In my opinion, it makes you look even that Seahawks defense even worse than what you are. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a bad look for me. I would go out there and kneel, save grace, and move on. Right?
Yeah.
Are you still there?
What I would, what I would have done is just gone in and thrown a flipping massive Hail Mary.
Yeah. There's something forward, not behind.
What else can you do? You just go in there and do what Rodgers did against. I think it was it the Lions or whoever it was, where he threw that massive Hail Mary into the end zone, and look for him. Luckily, it came off. But I'm not saying that Drew Lock can reach the end zone from there, but you just at least throw it, hold it for as long as possible, get your receivers to run as fast as they can down, and just throw the thing. And you never know, you might get lucky, but.
I can't wait to see it again in replay to see that guy knock him out of his socks, because that was fantastic, and that pumped up the whole like you said before, the energy in Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium was fantastic, and these players starting to believe it. To me, it's a new era. I really see some life out of this team. I really see some positive signs that it does feel like a bit to me that Big Ben held us back to a certain degree, right? Do you feel that new energy right now?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and I think there's definitely a new energy in the offense, and that's the main thing we needed. I haven't got any concern about the defense. Once everyone's back, I've got no worries there. But it's that new energy that is now there in that offense, because we've got players capable of delivering what the system needs to work. It's like, I suppose, it's like taking a Ferrari and putting a mini engine in it. It's not going to go very fast, is it? But we've now actually got a Ferrari and we put a proper Ferrari engine in it, and it's going to actually work properly. Yeah, definitely. And just Daredevil says in the bottom there, the Tomlin haters are going to be proven wrong this season. Guaranteed.
Oh, I can't wait. My first video with if or when the Steelers beat the Bengals, I will not even talk about the game. I will just be talking about Tomlin haters and the Bengals being the worst team ever. So I'm done with you. This team is different, mate. If you still hate Tomlin, go kick rocks. You can go to another channel. I don't care about you. What else do you want to talk about the defense? What else stood out to you?
I think that Leal had some nice bits at the end there as well. DeMarvin Leal,
he did
okay. For a rookie in his first NFL experience, he did well. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, I was really impressed with Kazee. I thought Kazee did very, very well, and maybe Terrell Edmonds needs to start worrying about his spot, because.
Do you know why he did well?
Go on.
Because Robert Spillane missed his coverages.
Yeah.
He missed he 3 or 4 times. He'd missed his running back. I think he missed his assignment 3 or 4 times. And how it played out was because he had to come down in the box and save the day. I think as well because he came down the block to save a touchdown as well. I thought he played fantastic. I think he was one of my standouts
Yeah, because he
to
was
me
good.
in that defense. It's gonna. I think really, what is the biggest weakness? Is it middle linebacker? There has to be a weakness somewhere.
Half of the middle linebackers.
Half.
Miles Jack
That's
is
true.
not. Miles Jack, I think, is outstanding. And I came up with a really, really weird, like which I said to you earlier, that really weird trade proposal that I came up with earlier. I think that's actually worth exploring. Saying to the Jets, right, you're desperate for a quarterback because you're going to be. I mean, okay, apparently it's not as bad as people thought it was. It's not an ACL; it's his meniscus or something. He might be out
Mm-hmm.
6 to 8 weeks.
4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks.
Yeah, so they are desperate. So, right, okay, you give us a second or a third for Rudolph. We'll then use that draft pick plus a player to go and get Roquan Smith.
Yeah, that could be. It could be interesting. It does seem like defensive wise, Bush is just not there. Spillane, he's just coverage wise. It's hard to watch, isn't it? You're a football player, mate. I don't play football, but hey, you got to cover someone, and it's just not. The running back is just out in the middle of the field. Safety's got to come down in the box. We don't want to see Minka come down there anymore. We want to see some communication and that kind of stuff happening. It is a preseason game, but to me, the weakest area today was the middle linebacker, even though that Jack excelled. I liked a bit of the cornerback play and I liked a bit of the safety because I think Kazi saved the day.
Yeah.
But where can they improve next week with this kind of defense?
I think it's going to be around the run defense again, and it's about really showing that up over the first. Hopefully, we'll see a bit of Cam, a little bit of Cam, a little bit of TJ. I don't want to see them play a large number of snaps, but just a couple, just to knock the rust off and see that and be convinced. Okay, the first team defense looks good. The second team defense then would be Loudermilk, Wormley. And I don't know who I can't remember who played nose tackle in that first, because obviously Adams is injured at the moment. But like it would just to get that run defense sorted would be the main thing for me. I think going forward, because that is the one thing that if we cannot get sorted is gonna really hurt our chances this season.
Well, yeah, it's no good rushing TJ and Highsmith on the outside, the quarterback stepping up in the pocket or the halfback draw or whatever, and there's a burning hole in the middle because I thought that was today. It just seemed like sometimes his middle linebackers didn't want to play too well. But in that case, too, Mike Robinson, for me, played really well on the outside. Is there any other players that, excelled for, we talked about Leal, right? Leal was out there, and I thought his very first snap, he almost got a sack. Is there anyone that really excelled to you on the defense that they're maybe on the fringe and that hopefully they're not cut?
Like I said, Robinson's the biggest one for me, I think, and I'd really love to see him actually make the 53-man roster, just because I think he's something different to what we've got. Buddy Johnson, I think, did a really good job as well. He's starting to prove that he is the player that we thought he was when he was drafted in 2021.
Yeah, so let's open up the questions now. Let's get some questions, guys. I want to hear any questions from the live chat. We have 11 people in here. Michael O'Malley, J Devil, Brian Harrington, Michael O'Malley again, J Devil. I'm joking. We have 11 people in here. I want to hear 2 or 3 questions if you can. We'll answer them, then we'll get out of your hair and we'll get out of the way. But I'm impressed, right? Well, on a scale of 1 to impressed, like how impressed are you with this game?
I thought it was a very good first game. I was impressed with what they did, and I mostly impressed with the offense. That's the biggest thing, and I think that's the most encouraging thing, because that's what I wanted to see was an offense, an improvement on offense. And I didn't want to see the same offense as I saw last season that was just awful. And it can only get better. That's the really encouraging thing. If you think about that offense, if Anthony McFarlane, if Jalen Warren, if Master T can run like that, what can Najee do?
I hope we can keep some of those fellas. If Master T can keep playing that way, North and South, and the other guys, McFarlane's a different kind of cat back there. Najee Harris, it might be a time where Benny Snell might be on the chopping block. What else do you have to offer besides special teams? We have some. I don't know. It's got to be something you and I can explore throughout the week, right?
Yeah.
We have here Brian Harrington. I could only see parts of the game tonight. How did Tuzar Skipper perform? What do you reckon?
I didn't really see him that often. I think he recovered the fumble, did he?
Him or Leal were in there for the fumble. He wasn't really in that many reps, to be honest. I think it was only about a low percentage of snaps. I didn't see him do anything compared to what he did last year. More or less, he was just in there to be in there. I know on other shows I've said that he was a good player, but look, I don't think he's going to be making the roster. But that's one of our weakest areas too, is outside linebacker.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if Jannard Avery played. Did
No,
Jannard
he's
Avery
injured.
play?
He's injured
Okay,
again.
okay, so he played.
Again, been the operative word there, I think.
Yeah, that's another one, right? So that's a good question. I don't think Skipper he has to go. He has to do something well in training camp. He needs the coaches or someone to talk about him for a chance to be behind TJ. That's a bit of a weakness too. Is there's no real good depth behind that guy. I don't know if we go and get another guy. Tyler Nash says, "How does this is a fantastic question? I've been asking this anything I'm a part of. I've been asking this question to my dog every day. How does Derek Watt fit into the offense?
He doesn't.
They never play him. They simply just don't play him. He doesn't need to play, and when he does
He's
play, nothing
solely in the
happens.
team. He's solely in the team as a special teams captain, but how long can you just choose someone because they're good at special teams?
Well, exactly. I don't even know if he played today.
I didn't see him.
I don't think Derek Watt played today. And there's a certain time the offense looked pretty good today, but can they incorporate the fullback into some motion or use him as an actual fullback and give Najee or Warren an actual chance to get to the second level?
Yeah.
That's what fullbacks are for. I don't think we've seen what he can do, but at the same time, when he's in there, you never see him. He's
But
never playing. So
the question is, if he, I mean, I wasn't really looking for him, but if he didn't play, why?
yeah, is it because he's got the veteran leadership or?
But he's not. But he's not in the same bracket as his brother or Cam or Tyson or Najee or Deontay. He's not even in the same stratosphere as those guys. So why would you? It's the same point you made, I think, a few weeks ago with Jacksonville. Why was Trevor Lawrence sitting on the sideline? Because he
Oh,
hasn't done anything.
I don't understand that. Trevor Lawrence needs to go out there and play football. Yes, he played
Derek
good the
Watt is
other
the
day.
same. Derek Watt's
Yeah,
the same. Why is he sat on the sideline not playing?
yeah. It's if a second year player like Trevor Lawrence should have been playing the first game at least one drive. Trubisky played 2 drives. Right. It's also to the point too. The offense we saw today was quite good. They went 5 wide. They went shotgun. They used motion with Haywood and Kevin Radar a bit. So that's going to be using Muth and Gentry. To me, where does it exactly? Where does it, Tyler? Where does it fit in? We don't know. I have no idea. Let's move on to another question. Michael O'Malley says, "Can you wait until all the pieces?" Oh, big time. So he's saying, can we wait until we see both sides of the ball? 100%. I think with the defense today, there was only 3 or 4 players that were starting, and on the offense, we saw flashes of our, who were missing, DJ and Claypool. So it's going to get better, right? It's going to
DJ,
get better.
Claypool, Freiermuth, Harris.
Yeah, so I can't wait to get better. I just think that if we're comparing, I guess, 2 sides, I thought the offense played much better than the defense. Andrew from Melbourne says, "Are you concerned?" It's a great question. Are you concerned with our DBs?
Safeties, no, because Minka will come back in and that'll be fine because Minka does what Minka always has done, and Minka makes everybody else in the safety room look better because everyone is petrified of Minka Fitzpatrick. That's the thing. Cornerbacks, yeah, I do have a slight concern over cornerbacks. Hence why during the draft process I was trying to railroad for Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson, or Kyler Gordon out of Washington in a later round. I do still have a concern over cornerback. Keller Witherspoon did well, don't get me wrong, but there's still no CB1 there for me.
Yeah, that's another one. I think with the progression of this training camp and preseason, we'll soon find out who's going to be cornerback number 1. Let's do one more question, then we'll have our final thoughts. So Brian Harrington says here, if you could choose number 1, 2, and 3 running back right now, based on what you've seen so far, who would you guys take? Brian says Harris, Warren, and McFarland, and keep Master just in case Snell is out. So who's 1, 2, and 3?
I agree with Brian. Harris, Warren, and McFarland, because they did something different. They beat men. They went north-south. They spotted gaps. They made the cuts at the right time. They were just different class to what Snell has done in the last 3 years. Is it he's been with the team now?
Pretty much. I agree with you both. I think it's going to be Najee Harris. I think it's going to be Warren and McFarland as well. McFarland's a change of pace guy. We saw it today. He got better in the cuts. I just saw Damonte Kazi. I'm watching the game again. Damonte Kazi came out of nowhere. Kamikaze, kaboom, and hit the tight end and got a tackle. So he played fantastic. With this question, though, I think you have McFarland there sometime. I think if Snell's out, then you might have Master. You might have 4 running backs. So, and depending what Hayward can do too. Can Hayward be a fullback? If they use Hayward as fullback and tight end sometimes, and he played the whole game, so you might not even need Derek Watt to a certain degree, right? Because even he played special teams. So if they're going to have him in different situations, you might have Hayward and 3 tight ends having Radar in there too, or Sternberger, and use Hayward as a fullback sometimes. And then you can bring in, because it brings a big question is, why do we have Watt in this team? He's taking up a roster spot for what? To play special teams and do nothing else. So that's going to be interesting development to see, because I wouldn't mind seeing 4 running backs and including Master Teague if he starts to play good football and, kind of bleed him in. He doesn't need to be running the football 5 times, right?
Yeah.
But where does Watt fit on this team?
He doesn't. That's the problem. I think you're going to have a situation where even on special teams, he's special teams leader and all that. But to be honest with you, Killebrew could do that. Killebrew is awesome at special teams. He's another one.
True.
McFarland contributed to special teams today. I mean, he was
even to a certain Hayward, man. I saw that play today. Hayward did a really good tackle on teams too. So,
I mean, is Derek Watt just there to keep TJ Watt happy? I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. Anyways, we're getting along on the tooth, eh? Yeah. What a great show. What a great game. What are your final thoughts, Owen? And then we'll close it out.
It's an exceptionally promising start by the Steelers. And I think, okay, let's not get it all blown out of proportion yet. It was only a preseason game, but they did very, very well. And they're moving in the right direction. And that's what I wanted to see. Where were they at this moment in time? And they're moving in the right direction. And hopefully going into next week in Jacksonville, they'll build on that. For definite.
Nah, it's Jacksonville, mate. Yeah. They'll play Lawrence, and he'll probably throw a duck egg and an interception, and we'll be fine, right? I can't. If TJ Watt plays next week, he probably won't though. I could see them sacking Lawrence a few times. But do you want to go to bed, or are you going to work soon or something?
I'm going to go and get an hour's sleep before I go to work.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy. All right, guys. Thank you for checking out the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. My final thoughts.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought the game was a wow moment. I liked the quarterback play. I liked the running game. I liked the offense. I liked what we saw, a different kind of football to what we saw in the playoffs and last year with Big Ben. I really do. I think it's very promising. I think it's good for this team. I think Trubisky and all those fellas, Pickett played well. I think the offensive line played well in stages. I think there were guys like Steven Sims or Shesky that were saying, well, hey, I need to be on this team. And I think we'll see the progress throughout the training camp and going into the next preseason game to be like, well, Warren's going to put his hand up and say, I need to be a running back number 2.
Yeah,
and he's undrafted, but maybe you put him behind McFarland and you have him 3rd, on the depth chart. But that's it. Yeah. All right, guys. Owen, you want to send us out?
last bit of energy, yeah?
Yes, mate. Yes, come on.
Okay. Here we go, Steelers. Come on.